All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. This is for the second episode now, which is called Welcome to the Club. All right, man. So this is the second episode for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. Welcome to the club. And it looks like what we're going to do for this half season of Fear and then also for Walking Dead World Beyond is I'm going to continue to try to review both every Sunday. The reviews for Walking Dead World Beyond will be posted in the morning around 10 or 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, so you can watch it Sunday during the day. And then I'll have Fear the Walking Dead's reviews posted after the premiere of the episode Sunday nights. And then we'll still do the live streams later on Sunday night, which will be after 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, as per usual, like we've been doing, pretty much most of this year. So the second episode of Fear the Walking Dead. So it's only 2 episodes in for this season so far for Fear the Walking Dead for Season 6, and already I am extremely impressed by it. I don't know if it's because I'm watching World Beyond right before it, and then I'm watching Fear right after it, and Fear is so much better right now anyway. So we'll see if they can continue with what they've been doing so far, but if they can continue to do this all the way through, and produce episodes like this, I'll be very happy with Fear, and it may end up being one of my favorite seasons of the series, with Season 3 still kind of being, I think, probably the standout season for Fear. So this episode was a lot of fun, really great. We get to follow Alycia and Strand, and they are now part of the Pioneers. So after the events of the Season 5 finale and Morgan getting shot and the whole thing with that, and then also the Season 6 premiere where Morgan defeats the bounty hunter and then takes his gear and everything and sends a message with the head in the box to Virginia, and he's even in and around, and spoiler warning is even at the end of this episode, which I was actually a little bit surprised by. I liked the ending of the episode. It was pretty surprising. But majority of the episode is taken up with them being Daniel, Alycia, and Strand being prisoners, and Charlie as well, she's in here too, being kind of prisoners or being forced to work for the Pioneers and do, kind of disgusting shit jobs. So they're doing, you have Alycia and Strand, and they're cleaning up shit, which sucks. And so you have them, and then one of the Rangers comes through, and Strand kind of is pissed off, so he throws the bucket of shit at his feet. And, his name's Marcus. That's right, I wrote down his name. And then we have the first appearance of Dakota. So Dakota is Virginia's sister. So she looked like her. We saw the pictures this week. And yes, in fact, it is confirmed now that Dakota is Virginia's little sister, but she's very different from Virginia. She actually seems to be a very good kid, very nice, and doesn't agree with what Virginia does to people, and doesn't really like her sister. But here's everything that's going on, so she's aware of basically everything that's going on as it's happening. So that's where we start things off, is with them cleaning up crap, and then they get into a little bit with this Marcus guy. He's driving Althea's SWAT vehicle, and they get called in by Virginia. We get to see Daniel again as he's cutting her hair, and it's just it's so ridiculous. Every time I see it, I just can't help but laugh. They got like the keys on their shirts and everything, and in this episode we get to understand what exactly that means, why they wear that, and why that kind of makes sense for her and the Pioneers, and why they do that. But you get to see Daniel here, and it looks like Daniel cannot remember absolutely anything. Looks like he has developed some kind of Alzheimer's. And by the end of the episode, I really love what they did with this one, because at first I thought he was faking it. But then as you go through the episode, it's like he's talking to Strand, he's talking to Alycia, he's talking to Charlie. And by the time you get, all the way through to the end, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, okay, he actually does have Alzheimer's at the end. Or well, maybe not Alzheimer's, but something happened to him. And maybe he got concussion or something, and he has memory loss. He can't remember basically anything except for his earlier life, like his wife and Ophelia and what happened as we saw really earlier on in the series. But I did love the part at the end where basically he reveals as he sees Morgan on the outside that actually, in fact, he is totally faking it and fooling everybody, including me, by the end of the episode, because he totally remembers everything, and he just happens to be a fantastic actor. So I always love what they do with Ruben Blades with Daniel, because they always take him and they give him something he always gets really cool stuff to do. Sometimes he'll leave for a while, then he'll kind of come back. He's sort of the Morgan of Fear the Walking Dead, right? He leaves, he comes back, but then he's always got cool stuff going on. He's always got some cool angle he's working or something or other. I don't know. It's always awesome. Everything. So it was cool. So I really like what they did with that. I thought that was great. And so we go with the episode through. So basically, Strand and Alycia are not playing ball or they're getting themselves they're kind of talking back a little bit. So Virginia takes him and she sends him to this other section where basically they have these prisoners that are kind of locked up in a certain spot, and they're put to this door. Like a roll down type of door with a section, like a storage section, and it's full of zombies and it's full of molasses. So it's kind of they lift it up and it kind of drips out, and you have the zombies kind of come forward, and they're all gnarly and gross and everything. We get to kind of see near the beginning with the door, and the character's name is Sanjay, who I really actually love what they did with him in this episode. So. So we see them. There's a cool part at the beginning too. Like some of them are getting, they kind of show the prison spot there, and some of the prisoners are getting when they roll up the door, some of them are getting tripped down by the walkers and kind of pulled in, which is something that's kind of cool and kind of different from what we're used to. I don't think I can't recall any time where walkers would kind of like pull someone in like something out of kind of a horror movie or something. You're used to seeing that in horror movies, but we just don't get to see that a whole lot in The Walking Dead. But it makes sense that they would if a whole bunch of them are kind of reaching out for food, grabbing onto clothes or whatever. It does make sense that they get pulled in, and then another one would grab and pull, and then another one in the back might pull, and then they pull the person in. So it makes sense, It's just not something we've ever kind of seen before, but it was cool. You have kind of the blood kind of come out, and Sanjay just lives in the first part because pretty much because he basically runs away. So they get the task that there is some kind of weapon inside this locker that Virginia really wants, and they have to kind of go in and get it. Also, we see Dakota go there, and she sort of backs that up in when Alycia and Strand are deciding, do they actually try to clear this locker for her and kind of play ball, or do they decide to just kill all of the guards and try to mutiny right away and try to take that spot, and then when Virginia comes in, kind of take their chances and kind of go at her, which... I don't know, it would be a more risky decision. I don't know if it would have worked if they could have laid some kind of a trap when she got there to kind of shoot her down once they had the guns and stuff with the others. Maybe it could have worked, but they would have had to plan it out just right, and very more risky strategy. So they didn't go for that. Strand ends up going this way with this one, and it was really cool to see them kind of set up. They set up like this queue system where when they let the door go, when Sanjay lets the door go, they have kind of a blockade set up down so that they can kind of filter in the walkers, kill them off, and then drag their bodies. And so it's sort of like the Drowning Pool song, let the bodies hit the floors. They're killing a whole bunch of walkers and then dragging them off. So that was really cool to see. I liked some of the just the different, stick 'em walker kills. They kind of do it in sequence, whatever. And then sure enough, the thing gets kind of chugged up, and we see them basically spill over, and you see them kind of go out the side way and kind of overload their sort of queue system. At the same time, some of the pioneers, or they call them the rangers, they call them, kind of come in, and they've got some of the guns and everything. So they're coming in. You see some cool zombie kills as things are kind of going through here, and then eventually it gets kind of clogged up. Dakota's in there too to keep them in there, and eventually the rangers get kind of pulled in by Dakota accidentally, and the walkers get them and eat them. So their guns are kind of down. But the group with Alycia and Strand is split up, so you have like a blockade with some of them kind of blocking off. and then Alycia kind of killing them over top. And then you also have on the other side Strand, and he's kind of trying to pull them away, but it's not working. And then he has Dakota and Sanjay in an RV on the outside of this little section here. So what he ends up deciding to do is, because the amount of walkers are kind of blocking everything in, and are going to get to the point where they're going to kill everybody, which would include Charlie and everybody who's inside, he decides to do something really brutal in sort of a save the last one type of way, which felt similar, but maybe even worse in some ways. He tells Sanjay to be quiet, or he basically hushes him up, and he stabs him in the legs so he can't really get away. Like, he can kind of maybe hobble on one leg or whatever, but it's like it's not going to be any good. And then as he's writhing in pain and screaming in pain, sort of serves him up to the walkers that are there, so they all kind of turn around and go at him, and then the others can go get the guns and just fire and nail them all down as Sanjay's being kind of used as bait and being torn apart in what is kind of a brutal death for him. But he's a new character, so we never really seen him before, so far as I can remember. So, but it was really brutal. I just wrote down brutal here when he stabs him in the leg, because that was really cool. But he was a coward. He did run away from the door, so it was sort of his fault the whole thing went awry. If he would have stayed at his post and done what he was supposed to do, then maybe that they would have been able to handle it a lot better. So, but they get the guns and everything works out okay, and then eventually Virginia kind of comes in to see them, and then we get the part that I found to be kind of annoying, which is that, okay, so they get all the way through there, they clear the thing out, they try to find out what was the purpose of us doing all this, and sure enough, there really wasn't one. She was just messing with them. She has them go and clean out this whole thing. A bunch of them die, and including Sanjay and including some of the Rangers and whatnot, and these others here, pretty much for absolutely nothing. And then she philosophically gives them the key, and then she says, "No, don't you understand? We have the weapon. The weapon is you. You have now proven yourselves as whatever," and gives them the key. And so that's what the keys that they're wearing stand for, is that they have somehow proven themselves as either, I don't know, loyal to her or somehow, or worthy to have their own squadron or little army section. And in this case, Strand is the one who proves himself to be able to do that, so he gets the key. So I just find Virginia to be absolutely ridiculous, but also annoying in this one, because she makes them do all that for nothing. It just made me think, like, I have actually worked with people who are like that. Like, they just test people. They will get them to do stuff. It's so frustrating, right, when you're in that kind of a system. Sometimes if you have to work with someone like that or something, they'll do stuff like that just to mess with you, just to test you and see if you'll do it. And absolutely, it's so frustrating, man, when you go through when you have to deal with someone like that. Oh, absolutely unbelievable. So they clear the whole thing out. There was no purpose, absolutely no reason for it, basically, just to prove themselves and to kind of to go through it for that. And so the weapon, the great weapon that they found, is themselves, which so annoying, man. Virginia is awful. So that's that. She gives them the key and everything, and then they split near the end. So Strand has kind of reassigned her, and so she kind of leaves, and Strand is kind of envious of Daniel because he can't remember, and Strand is probably kind of messed up after what he had to do in this one, killing Sanjay, leaving him for dead for the walkers. So, and I mean, he's done a lot of other stuff too, like the deal he made with Virginia originally and everything, so, which she sort of finds out in this one, but she doesn't find out everything he did. I don't think she knows by the end of the episode that he had done that to Sanjay and just sent him in there to die. So, but, you can definitely understand that after he had to do something like that, he may just want to be alone, so he sends her away as a result to kind of distance himself from the events that just unfolded, and also of her, because maybe he wants to be kind of a better man or a better role model for her, over time, being like maybe somewhat of a fatherly figure, because she doesn't have one, and Madison being gone and everything. So him being sort of the last, well, there's Daniel too, but last kind of holdout of the group earlier. Daniel doesn't know who he is from what they can see. So maybe Strand not being able to look himself in the mirror because of what he just did, and not wanting her to be around him as a result of that. So that was basically the episode. I thought it was an awesome episode. It was really fun. Lots of sweet zombie kills and guck and molasses and stuff like that. Charlie was in there too. She had some cool parts. One part where she almost died. I thought for a second she might be killed off at that time. She wasn't, but I did. The thought was in my mind like, oh, maybe they'll kill Charlie off. I didn't really care, but. I thought about it for a second. I was like, okay, but she gets saved. Alycia saves her, and so that's fine too. So the score for the episode, I'm going to give it a 9.3 out of 10, which I think is the same as I gave the premiere episode. So, Morgan showing up at the end. He's sort of hunting Virginia, or he's in and around, which is really cool. Maybe he's striking up a plan with Daniel, and we'll have to see how Strand fits into that and the others. Has Strand changed to the point where he's not going to be loyal to the old group and he'll be loyal to Virginia because of what she's able to offer him? Or if given the opportunity with Morgan and with Daniel and possibly some of the others, will he take down Virginia if he gets the opportunity? So, great episode. I still hate Virginia. I still think is she a villain? She's a villain, but she's like that annoying. She's like that annoying person who's a villain. Like she's a villain in an annoying way. They're under her. They're under the Pioneers in this one. So it's not like you're under Negan and the Saviors and you're really scared of Negan. I mean, I guess you could be scared of Virginia because she could shoot you and stuff. But she's just more like that troll, annoying kind of type of person. Like that, like the HR lady who really bothers you. Something like that. So it was a great follow-up to the first episode, and the first 2 episodes of Fear, I think, this season already have been fantastic, making World Beyond look even worse than it probably would have otherwise. So in comparison. So let me know what you guys thought. Leave your comments below. If you like this review, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace later, guys. See you soon.